Assassin's Creed Valhalla has some awesome secrets, Easter eggs, and in-game mechanics that you may have missed during your playthrough. So in this video, I'm going to take you through more of them, which I think are really cool and worth your time. And of course, I'll be chucking in a few bonuses at the end. Also, as an FYI, we've got some game spoiler alerts inbound, so just be aware of that heading into this video. Jumping straight into number 15, and that is a Lord of the Rings Easter egg that some of you may have missed, because I certainly did. Big thanks to Bewildered and Lars, who commented in the previous Easter egg video. They both said that a dwarven blacksmith, Ivaldi, in the cave under Asgard, well, you're going to come across him during the storyline. Now, if you listen closely, Ivaldi will start naming off Lord of the Rings Hobbit dwarf names as soon as you accept a quest from him.
Alin, Beorn, Bavor, Bombur, Nori, Gandalfur, Bindalfur.
So I did some digging, and Tolkien openly admitted, by the way, to pinching these names from the Poetic Edda, which is an unentitled name for a collection of poems that is widely regarded as the basis for Norse mythology, which is super cool. So the poems, thought to be written around 800 AD, which fits our Valhalla timeline, well, that's the story of creation of the world, and it's coming to an end. And these poems address Odin directly throughout as the protagonist. So that's an awesome Easter egg hiding in plain sight. So once again, big thanks to Lars and Bewildered for popping that down in the comments. Now, when it comes to our hidden blade, I know there's a lot of us, including myself, who want it to play a more prominent role in Valhalla. After all, it's called Assassin's Creed for a reason. Well, the thing is, you can actually use your hidden blade, but what you need to do is unequip your left-hand weapon slot. Eivor will now use the hidden blade as a weapon. Now, are you really going to be trading your offhand weapon for the blade permanently? Probably not, but every now and then it's pretty cool to use. You get a bit of nostalgia and it keeps things fresh. You can also knock out enemies by just using your fist so it doesn't kill them, and you can run around drop kicking people by having your right hand empty while light attacking. So if you want to mix up your dailies, drop kicking and hidden blading are on the menu. You'll be pleased to know we've got another Tolkien Hobbit reference here, and this one's thanks to Chris, who also kindly commented in our previous Easter egg video. Chris said that the world event located in the caverns of Colchester called the Devil's Hole is in actual fact a little nod to the Hobbit series. You may remember Beorn, the skin changer who can change into a bear in the Hobbit and who lives alone with animals. Well, this quest you can actually either choose to align with him, called the Beastmaster, or the Christian angry mob outside. Now, if you do decide to back him up, he's going to end up thanking you for not spilling any blood, which is cool, and I had his back the whole time. But I definitely didn't pick up on the Hobbit reference, which was poor from me. In any case, Chris, thanks for letting us know down below. Now knowing what I know now, going back and doing the quest again made it even more fun. Cheers. Now, coming in at number 12, and if you're a little bit like me and you do love spending a good amount of time with your bow, then there's a few cool combat archery animations that you may have missed. You can actually sneakily dispatch enemies by peeking around the corner with your bow, as well as just suddenly popping up from a haystack to get a quick arrow off. Now, since finding this out, this is pretty much all I do now because it makes me feel like a stealthy assassin. But if you want to channel your inner Neo Matrix mode, well, if you actually jump off a building and aim with your bow, then you're gonna slow everything down and make the game even easier, because we all know it's super hard right now, am I right? Now, since we're on the topic of archery and also Lord of the Rings, we've got a great Easter egg here which combines both. In Grantebridgeshire, near Melbourne Abbey, you'll come across a world quest where you'll actually have to help a family get their dad or husband to take a wash because he stinks so much. It's a pretty unique quest, so if you played the story and done the world quest, I'm sure you remember this one. It's a funny reference to Legolas because the dad is called Degolas. Now, there's a little play on words here from Ubisoft because Degolas in French is Degolas. As you can tell, I'm quite the linguist with other languages, but in French that means disgusting. So this is a pretty superb pun, and I don't know about any of you, but it actually took me about 15 minutes to figure out that I needed to shoot the ledge he was standing on. So I actually thought it was a bug. Rookie maneuver. Let me know down below if you had the same thing. By the way, folks, before I do break into the top 10, if you felt like you've got any sort of value from the video, hitting the like down below really does help a noob tuber like me out. And if you like these kind of videos and want to see more of them, consider subscribing to the channel. Coming in at number 10, and there's two things here which I really love. They're small things, but they're great nonetheless. So when you're actually controlling Synin, if you flick your analog stick left and right, she'll actually do a barrel roll in the sky, Top Gun style, which is awesome. You may also wonder how some people get these great landscape photos that seem to push the limitations of the actual photo mode camera itself. It doesn't really matter to me because every photo I take just looks like I've taken it with a potato. But if you do come across a lonely flag in the wind while exploring this wonderful game, then take a moment, head up to it, press focus, and appreciate the landscape that they have actually crafted in this game. Top marks. Now, Farron, who's one of our resident mentors on Discord, dropped a great Easter egg in about Edward Kenway and the Black Flag game that appears here in Valhalla. If you head to this location in Finland, you'll be able to hear the Black Flag music in the background, which is outstanding. It's one of my favourite AC games. It doesn't stop there though, because if you actually creep out a little bit more out of that particular location into the woods, you'll also be able to hear more music from the soundtrack of the game. Now, is this a nice nod to the series, or are there deeper meanings and connotations here? Eivor also ends up dead in Vinland, and the Apple of Eden has been left there in what we can only assume are the ancestors of Connor's family. So there's lots to think about here, and I absolutely love it. Now, quickly heading back across the pond to our settlement, and there's 3 quick-fire game mechanics here which I found legitimately helpful, and I hope you do too. First up, you can assassinate Hytham's strawmen, which becomes available to you after you do unlock the bureau in your settlement, and it's going to give you a few bars of adrenaline before you head out into England. I also posted this a while back on Reddit, and I thought I'd squeeze it in here just in case some of you haven't heard of this one, but you can actually use the blinding rush ability to slow down time and pick up all of those really annoying, challenging tattoo schemes very quickly. So it did save me heaps of time, and hopefully it does the same for you too. Finally, make sure you ring the bell outside of your settlement before you do head out to raid or quest in England. If you haven't done so, this feast at your settlement does give you a juicy buff that lasts 2 hours and makes the game even easier. Fantastic. Now, since we're on the topic of food, there's a nice nod to the game Portal here. Jose and Glow picked this small Easter egg up in our previous secrets video, which is a great spot. So in Essex, you'll come across a world mystery called the Riddler, where you need to solve 3 riddles where he offers the reward of cake if you answer the riddles correctly. Even if you do get them all right though, he doesn't have any cake, which of course is classic, but this is where you'll hear Eivor say,
"So the cake was a lie?"
Now, this quote references a specific quest where the AI in the game, the antagonist, GLaDOS, promises you with a reward and a party if you manage to complete the test facility puzzles armed with that experimental portal gun. Now, GLaDOS actually tries to kill you, and you can see the writing, "The cake was a lie," scrawled on the wall, which had been written by previous test subjects. So it's an old school meme, and it's clear someone had a bit of fun here from Ubisoft. Now, when it comes to fire and torches, and I know what you're going to say, "Hey Andy, listen, dude, we know what the torch does, it sets houses on fire." Well, yeah, you're technically right, but the torch also does a few other cool things which you won't ever use, but it's still cool to know. You can actually light other torches and braziers while you're underground for a little bit more light, but more importantly, you can actually use this as a bit of a fighting weapon. So you can channel your inner Aragon Strider fighting skills against the Nazgul, but in this case, the Nazgul are the Saxons, and they're the ones with the one-handed swords, and we're the ones with a piece of wood on fire, so they win this round. Now, sticking on torches and fire a little bit longer, for those of you who have played the Dark Souls games, you're going to like this corker. In Leicester, Leicestershire, near the Ratte Bureau, you're going to come across a sword that's been placed into the fire. Now, this is a reference to the Bonfire checkpoint in the Dark Souls, where you can recuperate and save the game. It's another small detail, easily missed, but really cool. Now, there's another mystery quest in Leicester where you come across a woman who's locked herself away in the tower. This is, of course, a nod to Rapunzel, but there's a couple more things here. Now, this hasn't been confirmed, but there's a guard at the base of the tower when you do arrive, and it's widely believed to have been voiced by Jacksepticeye. It certainly sounds a lot like him. Listen to this.
"A challenger approaches!"
Now, the story of Rapunzel is also based on Sif, the Norse goddess of wheat, fertility, family, and the wife of Thor. Now, Sif had beautiful golden hair that was cut off by Loki, of course. Now, Thor, not being overly happy about this, threatened to break every bone in Loki's body if he didn't fix it. So Loki travelled to see the dwarves, who crafted a golden hair to give to Sif, which then became one with her flesh, and she grew her hair as long as she was tall. So another fantastic Easter egg with a deeper meaning, and if it is actually Jack voice in that card, it makes it even better. Chris and Patrick left some great comments about our resident opal vendor in Ravensthorpe. If you played the game Origins, you may have recognised Reda, who also happened to be the same vendor in the same game. This isn't by accident, and Chris and Patrick are right. This is a big mystery that is yet to be fully told and unfolded. If we just have a look at the time periods of both games, Reda is currently 922 years old from Origins to Valhalla, and also talks about Bayek as an old friend. Reda goes on to say that maybe he met Eivor in another life, and I reckon he knows exactly who we are, can see through Eivor, and knows it's Layla Hassan. Now, for those of you who know me, know I do like a little bit of speculation, and I'd be really keen to hear your thoughts on this. But maybe Reda is an Abstergo agent utilising Animus technology to keep an eye on us and other potential operatives in the Animus. To me, it would make sense how Abstergo always seems to know where we are and what we're doing. I reckon they've been watching us through Reda the whole time, and with Reda at our settlement, at the core of our saga, I think he's got a bigger role to play as we progress into Ireland and Paris. Nilo and Unsung dropped some great comments in about a fantastic Dungeons & Dragons Easter egg, and what a find it is. Some pioneer at Ubisoft has taken the time to write out some dungeon master sheets with 4 characters, along with their strengths, weaknesses, and abilities. You can even actually see the dice trays. Oh, and the location of the Easter egg is at Forest Turry viewpoint in Wessex, by the way. Now, my number one and favourite is when Hytham persuades Eivor to take a leap of faith early on in the game. The thing is with this one, though, if you actually stay in the hay bale, Hytham begins to get concerned, gets a little bit flappy, and says this if you don't actually jump out.
"Oh dear, this is not how I foresaw things. Not at all." Dear God, Basim will have my head for this.
I think this one is great because I jumped out straight away and completely missed it, and I really enjoy things like this. Also, Edward Kenway may have named his son after Hytham, so combine our relationship with Hytham and the Vinland Black Flag music, there's got to be something here to connect the dots. Let me know down below if you have any ideas, I always really enjoy reading them. Now on to a few quickfire bonuses for you. Yaruzi and Jimmy noted in the comments about a side mystery called Otter Sluggerson, where you play baseball. You guys might remember this one, but it's actually based around Cody Bellinger, who plays for the Los Angeles Dodgers, and he actually filmed this with Ubisoft and voiced himself in Valhalla, which is really cool, and probably why you were wondering why this guy sounds American. SV in our Discord came across a really interesting potential bug, but also potentially not. So if you venture to Odin's Rest in Nottinghamshire or Nottingham, you'll actually come across an NPC who looks exactly like Odin with all the garb on as well. So I'll have to see if this remains to be the case after the next update, but could this have something to do with the Odin's runes? Now speaking of Odin's runes, they're cropping up all over the shop at the moment, and nobody's exactly sure what they're for. Darby McDevitt, the narrative director for Valhalla, told JV that the community may be onto something here, but we're just going to have to wait and see and find out what that is when we do find them all. The first rule of Fight Club is you never talk about Fight Club, but I'm going to make an exception here. So it's a great shout from David in the previous Easter egg secret video, who made the connection of the BB Fight Club to the famous cult film Fight Club. If you haven't joined yet, check it out here in Leicestershire. And our fifth bonus, which was a great shout from Anna Maria, who made the connection to the Pardoner's Tale Easter egg. This mystery is in Kent and is in reference to one of the 24 stories of the Canterbury Tales, one of the most important pieces of medieval literature in Britain. Some serious knowledge to pick that one up, Anna. Fair play and thanks for sharing. And our sixth bonus secret, I really am just too good to you guys. And this one's about a pet wolf you can actually choose to name during the storyline. You can actually call him Chewy, which is reference to Star Wars, or Mouse, which is reference to a very intelligent dog in the Dresden Files. Now, if you'd like to get more involved in a small, very good-natured, enthusiastic community, check out our Discord channel. We'd love to have you in the lobby where we discuss everything AC and everything not, so check that out. Also, big congrats to Toon, who won our Community Photo Award of the Week, voted for by everybody in the Discord. Very sharp, my man. Anyway, if you liked the video, hit a like. If you didn't, hit a dislike. And as usual, guys, coffee's on me.